So I thought it would be nice to show you guys how I make a stroganoff at home, and you can make it very quickly if you need to. You don't have to take a long time, and you can also make in a long time if you do everything, absolutely everything from scratch. It's the kind of dish that you can customize the way you like it. For me, the basic stroganoff needs to have garlic and onions and tomato sauce. So this is the tomato sauce I'm gonna use today because I'm not making from scratch. You can use a little bit of tomatoes if you have some already cut up, and you can use meat or a veggie meat. In this case I'm vegetarian, so I'm gonna use this vegetable scallops. So I put a little bit of olive oil or the oil of your preference. I'm gonna start putting the onion. So I put the onion for about 3 minutes. You guys probably wondering how I'm doing with this coronavirus situation. I think I'm doing good. I've been very careful about the groceries that we buy. Yesterday I was actually washing. So I washed with soap and water all the things we got from Walmart. I'm putting the garlic right now. The onion's gonna fry for 30 seconds, and then you can put your meat of your preference. So my husband is a nurse, and every time he comes home, I have a little protocol. He gets all his clothes off and he puts in the washer, in the laundry, so he doesn't have to come in with those clothes that could be contaminated if you get in contact with somebody that has contact with a coronavirus patient. This is the way the meat with the onion and the garlic. You let the tomato melt a little bit, and then the last thing I put is the tomato sauce. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put. I actually hate mushrooms, but I can eat it. There are some food that I don't like, but I eat. Mushroom is one of them. I don't like the texture of the mushroom, but if they are not a lot, and if they're mixed in food, or if they are like this one's like creamy, and then I like better. So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna put some of in here.
Make egg rolls, huh?
See guys, my husband offers to cook stuff.
Oh, yeah, on occasion. You don't want to do it too often because then they get used to it.
He just came home and the first thing he asked was if I want him to make that. Sure.
Egg rolls goes good with rice.
So this is the way it looks right now. Look. Very rich because he has the pine hearts, he has the meat, he has a little bit of the tomato, the onion and garlic, and see how rich is this. You can add red peppers, green pepper, yellow pepper, you can add mushrooms, you can add a variety of options, but this is what I had in my refrigerator today. You can also add olives. It's also very good. So I will show you the final food on the plate for you guys. We wanted to have a garden before. We had, I think, maybe last year or 2 years ago, but then we had animals eating our veggies. We live out in the country.
I was really frustrated with it because I had a beautiful garden. It produced, my plants got huge. They produce all kinds of fruit. But the only fruit that I was actually able to eat were my chili peppers. Because everything else, the squirrels and deer would just eat off before they even they didn't get close to being ripe. Like they were just still green on the vine and they would come in and eat them. This year, became a little bit more prepared.
Yeah, we decided to buy a greenhouse because we thought that would be the best solution. This coronavirus situation came so in suddenly. So now having chickens and having the greenhouse is actually something that we like thinking like, wow, like what if a coincidence that we decided to make those decisions for this spring in the middle of the situation.
Sorry. I kind of knew that sometimes when you have a natural disaster or you have something like this where people run to the stores to try to, to get the essentials, the water, toilet paper in this case, that sort of thing, sometimes it becomes really hard to find, and that these items become very scarce, sometimes for weeks at a time. And I used to tell my in-laws about this, especially my mother-in-law, and she used to kind of think I was a little eccentric, a little crazy.
Exaggerated. It's because in Brazil we don't have natural disasters at all. There's no tornadoes, there's no earthquake, there's no hurricanes, there is no war. Like we don't have wars in Brazil either. So we didn't grow up with this mentality that Americans have of preparing yourself or preventing yourself in case of some situation like that happens. So now that I've been living here for several years and I studied the government and I went to school and actually adapted from new culture, now I understand.
Already died, already. Let's see. It's delicious. It's great. She already knows that Strogonoff is one of my favorite dishes. I'm going to give it a try here real quick, make sure it's not poisoned before giving it to the family. That's what my dad used to always say. He's got to try it first because make sure it's not poison. Okay. You gotta be careful.
I think we're doing good as far as not panicking to the point of you buying too much toilet paper. I'm not desperate to stock up like a lot of people are. We didn't go crazy on stocking up.
We tried to stay away from doing that. But if we stock up on a bunch of stuff that we're likely not going to use, it just makes it it just means that somebody else that maybe needed it couldn't get it because we bought it first. So we try to leave stuff for somebody else and buy really only what we can reasonably use. Yeah, we're trying to stay home as much as possible right now. Kind of, follow the guidelines. I'm still going to work right now, obviously, since I'm a nurse. My job has not sent me home.
Only go out here in the yard or walking around the house, and pretty much that's it. Especially considering I have a 2-year-old boy and a baby. I don't really want to expose.
And it's what the recommendation is right now. It's what they're asking everybody to do is to
just limit the amount that they have to go out as much as possible. We're not on a mandated quarantine or anything, but just limit exposure as much as we can. I think if everybody does that, that's it's really what they want. It's going to hopefully help curb the spread of this, so we can quickly get back to our lives. I think right as a general advice, it'd be no different than what is being recommended right now for everybody, is to try to really just limit your exposure to other people, especially because like flu, coronavirus, or COVID-19 is transmissible and contagious before any symptoms. So you really can't just try to stay away from someone who's coughing. That's not really good enough. Somebody who looks perfectly healthy, has no symptoms at all, could potentially give you this COVID-19. So you can't just stay away from people who have symptoms. The advice that has been given so far is good advice. Simply limit the amount of times that you go out in public as much as possible. Keep them as short as possible. Wash your hands very frequently. Hand sanitizer is good. Of course, it's probably in short supply right now, but luckily water is not in short supply, and as far as I know, neither is soap, and those are the two best things. The more times you do that, the better. Every time you're going to think, I'm going to go to town to do this, that, or the other, just stop and think, is it really truly necessary right now? And if it's not truly necessary, maybe it'd be better to leave it for another time. If it turns out that it is if you decide that it is necessary and you must go out, try to just, go in, do what you need to do, and come back, try to limit that exposure as much as possible.
Alright guys, we're gonna end the vlog right now. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.